Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Steve Bell, and I'm the Community Development Director for City of Fort Myers. We also have with us this evening from the University of South Florida, Green and his staff. Some of his students right here. They've been assisting us with this project for the past several months. So this is the Midtown Vision Plan, and we wanted to come here to the community yes, the draft vision plan. Make sure that's good. This is not the So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to present what we have so far with the draft vision plan and kind of where we are, and we want to get your feedback. We want to get your input on the vision plan. It's very important that we get the input from the members of the community. So what we're going to do is we have a short presentation that we're going to show you. It's about 10-12 minutes long. Kind of give you an update what we've done through this process and what this is. Kind of bring you up to speed. I think I see a lot of new faces here that I haven't seen before, which is great. I'm happy with the turnout that we have. That once the presentation is over, what we're going to do is ask you to kind of get up from your seats and go back to these workstations that we have here that some of you have already been around, and we want to really get your input. We want to, we have maps here. We want you to draw on them. We really want your feedback on the vision for Midtown. It's really important that we, we get your buy-in. It's really important that we get your input for this. So that's the plan for this evening, and I think without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the City of Fort Myers Public Information Meeting about the Midtown Vision Plan. The City of Fort Myers, in partnership with the City of Fort Myers Community Redevelopment Agency, the University of South Florida, LaRue Planning, and other partners are developing a cohesive strategy for urban design, regulatory revisions, and long-range planning for Midtown. The city's vision is to have these areas seamlessly connected while they continue to retain their individual identity and uniqueness. The City of Fort Myers sees the need to provide expanded housing options that allow for a range of income levels and more mixed-use development opportunities for our citizens and business owners. This will also increase the city's tax base. In order to develop what residents want and need in the urban area, we must encourage and promote smart development. Smart, responsible growth provides neighborhood protection and preserves the character and history of our community. The city also needs to balance this future planning with infrastructure upgrades in the Midtown area. Necessary underground utilities such as water, sewer, and storm drains will need to be sized appropriately for possible future growth. The boundaries of the Midtown focus area are US 41, Cleveland Avenue on the west, Edison Avenue on the south, Evans Avenue on the east, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, State Road 82 on the north. There have been numerous public meetings over the past several years that have helped the city reach this point in the visioning process for Midtown. In 2015, the city hired Insight to develop a vision for the Midtown area. The city manager and Johnson Engineering presented the concept of increasing density in downtown and Midtown to the Community Redevelopment Agency in September 2016. At the January 2017 meeting, they considered updates to the downtown and central Fort Myers redevelopment plans. Members of the public attended these meetings. The CRA Advisory Board received a presentation on changes to the comprehensive plan in January 2017, and they recommended allowing increases in density and height based on planned utility infrastructure upgrades. Additional opportunities for public review and comment took place at the Historic Preservation Commission meeting later that month and at the Historic Preservation Commission public hearing held in February 2017. The Commission recommended approval of the proposed amendments. The Planning Board held a public hearing on February 1st, 2017 to discuss the proposed changes and voted to continue the public hearing to March 1st, 2017. After further discussion and public input, the Board recommended approval of the proposed changes at the March 1st meeting. As a result, in the summer of 2017, the City of Fort Myers and the City of Fort Myers Community Redevelopment Agency hired the University of South Florida School of Architecture and Community Design to help define a future growth strategy. The intent of this effort is to build upon the previous planning initiatives and incorporate public workshops and presentations throughout the duration of the project. The USF team has been reviewing proposed density scenarios and developing a vision plan for the Midtown area. The city and USF assembled a group of approximately 60 local residents, stakeholders, and professionals to work as an advisory committee for the project. The advisory committee was formed to gather information from members of the public and individuals who are experts in their fields to obtain diverse points of view as to how the city should move forward. Several members from the public also participated in the advisory committee meetings. USF requested the group be small enough to work with, but large enough to receive a wide array of ideas and comments. Using information and input gathered in previous phases and working presently with such a broad representation from the community, USF has been developing an integrated strategy for urban design, regulatory revisions, and long-range planning strategy in downtown and Midtown Fort Myers. In January of this year, the city hosted a public meeting to get feedback from the public on the initial ideas and concepts proposed by the advisory committee and members from the public. The proposed comprehensive plan amendments and what they mean for the area were also discussed. The goals and preferences of the community have been a top priority throughout this process. Some of the ideas we heard focused on enhancing the look and feel of downtown and Midtown, including more open space, addressing the need for greater, more affordable housing options, bicycle and pedestrian amenities, and other important concepts. The Midtown Vision Plan is intended as a framework for integrating the area into an expanded mixed-use area that complements downtown. It is also intended to serve as a tool for coordinating future growth in an orderly, efficient, and sustainable manner. The Midtown Vision Plan incorporates the spirit and intent of existing regulatory documents and other city initiatives, while envisioning Midtown's potential as a vibrant, mixed-use urban center. Here's just one example of a mixed-use development. The Midtown Vision Plan is based on 4 primary redevelopment objectives. Maximize the economic development potential of the area by providing a variety of housing options and commercial activities. Identify the best urban design framework for growth considering density, height, public space, etc. Ensure the goals of local residents are reflected in the vision, and incorporate strategies that have investment potential and are feasible within the local market. On a larger scale, the overall integrated downtown redevelopment strategy is based on creating a connected framework of paths, activity areas, and destinations within and between downtown, Midtown, Gardner's Park, and with links to the Dunbar community. It is important to envision these areas as seamlessly connected while they continue to retain their individual identity and uniqueness. This map identifies the proposed Midtown future land use categories. The light yellow designates residential low density, the darker yellow is residential medium density, the peach-colored areas represent the traditional community, and red areas are commercial corridors. The light purple is downtown, the magenta area in the center is Midtown, and the gray segment is primarily industrial. The light green areas are for recreation. A display board with this graphic is available for further review this evening. There are numerous benefits to be gained by creating a vibrant mixed-use town center that includes a variety of residential and commercial opportunities. Studies show a clear connection between walkable environments and the economic viability of a community by creating a sense of place. In addition to lower infrastructure costs, the tax revenue can increase significantly. By including green space, activities, residential and commercial areas, there is also an increased opportunity for social interaction. There is a growing body of evidence that the built environment, the man-made physical structures, and the infrastructure of communities is an important social determinant of health. Here are just a few examples of town centers across the United States. To better visualize density scenarios, these renderings depict different density options and what they could look like. There is a display board with this graphic available this evening for further review. Here are some examples of density that you will recognize from right here in Fort Myers. This graphic shows structures of varying heights and compares dwelling units per acre. You can see the Altamar on Palm Beach Boulevard with the lowest density represented, Campo Felice on Edwards Drive with moderate density, and the Dean Building on Dean Street with the highest density. At the conclusion of this presentation, Trent Green with the USF team will explain some of the graphics that are available for your review and comment this evening. There are numerous display boards with valuable information placed throughout the room and on the walls. At the conclusion of Trent's overview, please walk around and review all the material. Then we will transition to the modified charrette, where you will have the opportunity to engage with city staff and the team from the University of South Florida School of Architecture and Community Design to ask questions and express your ideas about the Midtown Vision Plan. We want to hear from you. Please fill out a comment sheet and either drop it in one of the boxes before you leave or mail it to us at the address on the back of the comment sheet by April 13th, 2018. You may also comment directly from the project website at www.myfmdowntownmidtown.com. After this public meeting, the team will process all the input received and integrate your ideas and suggestions into the Midtown Vision Plan. We expect to share the plan at a City Council workshop in April and to present the final Midtown Vision Plan to Council in May. Once adopted, the City will implement development regulations from the Comprehensive Plan Amendment and review and recommend necessary zoning changes to help the Midtown Vision Plan become a reality. Thank you for your interest in the Midtown Vision Plan. To view information and videos from previous advisory committee and public meetings, visit the city's website and click on the Downtown Redevelopment link, or visit myfmdowntownmidtown.com. After we hear from Trent Green with USF, we will move to the modified charrette. Please take this opportunity to review all the information and graphics on display, speak with members of the project team, provide input, and share your vision for the Midtown area.
Okay, again, that presentation will be available on the website if anybody wants to review it again. I did want to mention before Trent comes up, we do have with us one of our council members, Teresa Watkins Brown, is here this evening. We appreciate her being here. So thank you. We also have in the back, we have our city manager, Saeed Kazemi. At this time, I would like to invite Trent to come up. He's going to say a few words to you and kind of give you some instructions, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everybody. And I've been told if I sound a little bit, if you can't hear me in the back, somebody just sort of raise your hand and throw something at me. So okay, thank you. But thank you again for coming out. And what we're going to discuss tonight is the draft or preliminary vision plan for Midtown. Okay, we've been at this for several months. We've been studying Midtown and a good portion of the downtown area, try to understand what's possible in the future in terms of redevelopment. The way we got started, we recognized that there's an awful lot of publicly owned land in the Midtown area. We estimated anywhere from about 60 to probably 75% of the land is publicly owned, or institutionally owned for that matter. But we also recognize that this is a great opportunity to plan for the future for the city of Fort Myers. And in doing so, creating something that has lasting or enduring sort of impact, positive impact on the city in so many different ways. So our vision plan concept starts with this idea of as was mentioned on the PowerPoint presentation, this idea of a framework of connected paths and places. Okay, the main place that we envision as part of this plan for the Midtown area is a town center. And as you saw the examples earlier, and as many of you travel in other parts of the state of Florida or around the country, or for that matter in other countries, you're probably very familiar with what what these types of built environment conditions actually are. So that's where we started, and that's the sort of the big overarching idea for the plan itself. The plan has a number of components associated with it. Some of them were alluded to in the PowerPoint presentation, and all of the graphics that we have up on the boards, they actually show how we've sort of taken this big idea and we've sort of sliced it and diced it or dissected it and looked at it in so many different ways. But keep in mind, this is still a draft. This process is still fluid, and we definitely want your input about the ideas and the strategies that we are incorporating into the vision plan up to this point. And I always like to. We've done this kind of work for, at least I've been involved in this type of work for quite a long time. But the thing I always like to tell communities that we work with is that what we're doing is to help you craft a plan for the future of the city of Fort Myers, okay, or for this part of the city of Fort Myers. This is not our plan, okay? This is your plan. So we want your involvement in it. We want your opinions. We want your ideas, okay? From the previous public sessions that we've had, we've gotten numerous really good ideas that we've tried to fold into this or factor into this project up to this point. And not all the graphics are final. They're meant, they're meant to be sort of a little rough, because again, we want your input on all these different components of the plan itself. So the graphics start out with the big idea. So the first board, of course, sort of shows the Midtown planning area, and the second board actually is sort of the grand vision, if I can call it that, for all the Midtown area, and it also identifies the four actually activity areas that we envision in Midtown. One, of course, is what we're calling the town center, and it's anchored by, you'll see it on some of the other boards, by a large public open space, in fact, a mixed-use open space. This is one of the things that we heard in a lot of the sessions we've had up to this point, that Fort Myers doesn't have a central park or a living room space, okay? I mean, there are other public spaces, of course, but the space that we've incorporated into the vision plan, and again, you'll see it further down the line, but it envisions a number of what we call outdoor rooms, okay? That is, there are different parts of this open space that can accommodate different types of uses and different types of activities. Doesn't matter where you come from in the city. There's always something. The idea is that there's something here for everybody, okay? For residents who might ultimately wind up living here, for businesses or workforce, let's say, who might wind up here, or for residents who live close by or nearby. Okay. The plan also looks at buildings. Okay. We heard an awful lot about building types. One of the things that was mentioned earlier that we did prior to the adoption of the comp plan amendments, we studied a number of different a range of different types of buildings and massings, let's say, that we feel are appropriate for infill and redevelopment purposes here. And they range from smaller, low-density buildings that could be built on, let's say, a typical single-family house lot, to all the way up to slightly higher density buildings, multifamily buildings that would require structured parking. There's one drawing that I want you to pay close attention to. It's sort of halfway down here, and you can sort of see there's a lot of little icons below that. I think what we're trying to do there is sort of give you an idea of how diverse an environment we're envisioning for this Midtown Town Center area. And for the other three activity areas in the Midtown area, one, the government center, what we're calling government center, of course you all know it is the county center, which is just here. And then towards the eastern end of MLK, down towards Evans, of course, the News Press site, which will more than likely be redeveloped in the not too distant future. And then going down Fowler south, where you have a lot of small businesses and some small light industry. We also see that as an activity area as well. So all four of those are part of this framework of places that we've talked about earlier. We also have some ideas and some strategies for some of the public realm conditions or features and some infrastructure elements, let's say, that we think will work fine for this vision. And Abby's standing by that last board over there, which a lot of what we're proposing actually builds on some of the work that's already underway. And that drawing actually talks about stormwater management strategy that picks up on what the Stormwater Department of Public Works is already doing, carries it a step further. Okay, so please ask questions about what do we have in mind? Okay, what are we suggesting for that matter? So with that, I will ask you all to actually get up and we've got three work areas here, crowd around them, and then there's trace, there's some markers, there's some sticky notes, there's plenty of opportunities to offer up your ideas, and then we're going to reassemble, and we want to show you something on the screen before we actually adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my team, Jeff Burton, who is our planning specialist, is here. Abby Sharabayani is here, who's a graduate architecture student. And Manitha Fakati, who's an architect and an urban designer. And Abdul Rahman Al-Rabi, who's also an urban architect and urban designer. And I think we're ready to start brainstorming some more. Okay.
I don't know that's the question. I know, I think it's I think I owe you a phone call to get this.
Usually on the phone or email.
He looks all over the world, looking down
Okay, one more thing that we wanted to show everybody, and that's a planning tool that we have pulled up on the screen. This is a 3D digital model that we're working with or using as part of this process. And as you can see, we have all of the existing buildings in Midtown and downtown sort of already modeled. And we also have the buildings that you see in the drawings here. We have those modeled also. This is a planning tool. It can be used for analysis. It can be used on an ongoing basis for looking at buildings that are proposed on an ongoing basis, rather. So what Abby's doing is just sort of showing you the many ways in which we can use this model, and of course, go down the street to the street level. Sorry, those little lollipops, those are trees at this point. So. But you can see we can get down to the human scale in this model, and we can start to show exactly what these public realm conditions would actually look like along the streets. And time permitting, if we can get to it, we hope to finish up this project with a little movie, a little animation, actually. Okay. If any of you have any last questions, we're here for, well, as long as we need to be. So thank you again for coming out. And like I say, make sure you leave comments or ideas. As Michelle mentioned earlier, there's a number of different ways to leave your comments, your thoughts. Keep in mind, this is a draft. This is a fluid process still, okay, and we're certainly nowhere near being finished. You know, some of these might look like they're going long. It's still not finished, okay. So thank you again for your participation.